The motel clerk locked the lobby doors while the man was still outside. "No room, no entry," he said through the glass. "Try the highway shelter." The stranger stood in blowing snow with blood on one sleeve. His phone was dead, and the nearest shelter was 6 miles away. Homeless single mother Tasha Reed saw him from her old minivan. She opened the passenger door. "Get in before you freeze," she said. The man thanked her, then noticed the motel's emergency generator. "That fuel line violates Minnesota fire code," he said. "One spark could shut down this entire block." Tasha stared at him. What kind of stranded traveler noticed something like that? Before we continue, ask yourself this. Would you share your only shelter with someone you had never met? Tasha was 34 and worked overnight shifts at a neighborhood grocery store in Minneapolis. She had lived inside the minivan for 7 weeks with her 9-year-old daughter, Kayla. Their apartment building had caught fire in November. Insurance delays and rising deposits kept them from finding another place. Tasha refused to call herself helpless. She worked, saved money, and kept Kayla enrolled at the same public school. Every morning, she cleaned the van before drop-off so nobody would notice where they slept. The stranger introduced himself as Evan Cole. "What happened to your arm?" Tasha asked. "My car slid into a barrier. You should get that checked. It's a cut, not a crisis. That's what stubborn people say before something becomes a crisis." Kayla woke beneath 2 blankets in the back seat. "Mom, who is he?" "A man who needs to warm up." Kayla looked at Evan's soaked coat. "He looks expensive." Tasha sighed. "People don't look expensive." "He does." Evan almost laughed. He said he had been driving to a warehouse outside the city when the storm closed the interstate. He carried no luggage, only a slim document case. Tasha offered him half a peanut butter sandwich. "You don't owe me anything," Evan said. "I know. You need this for your daughter. We already ate." Kayla stayed quiet. They had shared 1 sandwich between them. Evan noticed, but he did not embarrass them by asking. What Tasha did not know was that Evan Cole was really Evan Colson, the 38-year-old CEO of Colson Freight Systems. He had come to Minneapolis quietly after drivers reported unsafe winter routes and missing emergency funds. Then someone knocked hard on the van window. A man in a Colson freight jacket stood outside. He looked directly at Evan and said, "Sir, the board knows you're here." Evan stepped out before Tasha could stop him. The man in the freight jacket stood near the hood, snow gathering on his shoulders. "You should not have come alone," he said. Evan lowered his voice. "How did they find me?" "Your rental car reported the crash." Tasha watched through the windshield. The stranger who claimed to be stranded did not sound stranded anymore. Kayla leaned forward. "Mom, that man called him sir." "I heard." The employee glanced toward the van. "Security is 10 minutes away." "No security," Evan said. "Tell them to stay back." "You're injured." I said, "Stay back." The man nodded and returned to a pickup parked across the lot. Evan climbed into the passenger seat again. Tasha did not start the engine. "Who was that?" she asked. "A co-worker." Co-workers usually use first names. He's formal. "He looked scared of disappointing you." Evan wiped snow from his sleeve. "It's complicated." Tasha gave him a flat look. "That word usually means somebody is lying." Kayla whispered, "Mom." "What?" "I'm right." Evan looked toward the dark motel lobby. "I work for Colson Freight," he said. "That much I figured out. I came here because drivers reported dangerous winter routes." Tasha knew the company. Colson trucks passed her grocery store every morning. "Those drivers sleep in the parking lot sometimes," she said. "They say dispatch won't let them stop." Evan's expression changed. "How long has that been happening?" "Months." He asked several careful questions. Tasha answered what she knew. Drivers bought cheap coffee and waited for roads to reopen. Some feared losing hours if they refused a route. Evan wrote everything inside the document case. "You take notes like a lawyer," Tasha said. "I'm not a lawyer." "Then what are you?" Before he answered, The motel lights flickered. The emergency generator coughed once. Then sparks flashed near the fuel line. Evan opened the door. Tasha grabbed his sleeve. "You said one spark could shut down the block. It could also start a fire." A hotel guest stepped outside to smoke near the generator. Tasha honked and shouted through the window. "Move away from there." The guest froze. Evan ran toward the generator and hit the emergency cutoff. The lights died, but the sparks stopped. The motel clerk finally unlocked the lobby doors. As guests rushed outside, the man in the freight jacket returned. This time, he carried a phone. He handed it to Evan. A woman's voice came through the speaker. "Mr. Coulson, the board has suspended your authority, effective immediately." Tasha heard every word. She looked at Evan. "Mr. Coulson?" He turned toward her. Knowing the lie had just become much larger, Tasha stared at Evan through the open van door. "Coulson," she said. "As in Coulson Freight Systems." Evan did not answer quickly enough. Kayla looked between them. "You own the trucks?" "My family owns the company," Evan said. "I run it." Tasha's expression hardened. "You told me you worked there." "I do." "That is not the same thing." The motel guests gathered near the dark lobby. Firefighters arrived and checked the damaged generator. The clerk finally stopped arguing and began moving people into a heated conference room. Evan stepped closer to the van. "I came to investigate the winter routes," he said. "Drivers reported unsafe schedules and missing emergency funds. So you dressed down and drove into a snowstorm. I wanted to see what happened without corporate warning everyone." Tasha folded her arms. "And what did you want from me?" "Nothing. You asked questions because you knew what drivers were facing. You let me share food with you. I did not ask you to. That does not make it honest." Evan looked down at the half sandwich, still inside the paper wrapper. "You were right," he said. "I should have told you." "When?" He had no clean answer. The man in the freight jacket approached again. His name was Marcus Bell, Evan's security director. "The board froze your company accounts," Marcus said. "They also sent regional management to the Minneapolis terminal." Evan's face tightened. "Why?" "They claim you endangered the company by conducting an unauthorized investigation." Tasha gave a short laugh. "Unauthorized? He's the CEO." "Not if the board suspends him," Marcus replied. Evan opened the document case. Inside were driver complaints, fuel records, and route schedules. Several signatures belonged to Martin Keller, the Minneapolis regional director. Tasha recognized the name. "He shops at my store," she said. "He complains when drivers stop for coffee." Evan handed her one route sheet. "This driver worked 19 hours. That's not safe. It's not legal either." Marcus looked toward the highway. "Keller is on his way here." A black SUV entered the motel lot. Evan closed the case. Tasha moved between him and the van. "You hid who you were," she said. "But whatever is in those papers could protect people." "Yes." "Then stop talking to me like I'm part of your investigation." "You're right." She pointed toward the conference room. "Get warm. Get your arm checked. Then tell the truth in front of everyone." Evan nodded. For the first time that night, he followed her instructions without argument. The SUV stopped near the motel entrance. Martin Keller stepped out with 2 company lawyers. He looked at Evan, then at Tasha's van. His smile disappeared. Martin Keller crossed the motel lot with 2 lawyers behind him. "Evan," he said, "you need to hand over those records." Evan kept the document case beside him. "Why?" "Because the board suspended your authority." "You mean they suspended me after I found illegal route schedules?" Martin glanced at Tasha and Kayla. "This is a private company matter." Tasha stepped forward. "Those drivers shop where I work. Some sleep in the parking lot because your dispatchers won't let them stop." Martin looked at her old coat and worn boots. "And you are?" "The woman who noticed your drivers were exhausted before your company did." One lawyer tried to interrupt. Evan raised a hand. "Let her speak." Martin's expression changed. "You brought a homeless woman into an internal investigation?" Tasha's face went still. Evan answered before she could. She gave me shelter during a storm. You will speak to her with respect. Martin gave a thin smile. That is exactly the problem. You are making business decisions based on emotion. No, Evan said. I'm making them based on 19-hour shifts and missing safety funds. He opened the case and removed several route sheets. Martin's name appeared on every approval. The motel conference room had filled with stranded guests, 2 truck drivers, and several employees. Everyone could hear the argument. One driver stepped forward. My dispatcher told me I'd lose my route if I stopped during the ice warning, he said. A second driver nodded. Same thing happened last month. Martin turned toward them. You signed those schedules. We signed because you threatened our jobs, the first driver replied. Tasha looked at Evan. You knew people were afraid to speak? I suspected it. And you came here under a false name to prove it. Yes. You also let me believe you were just another stranded man. Evan lowered his voice. I did. Martin stepped closer. This is not the time for personal drama. Tasha faced him. You don't get to call honesty drama. The words drew several quiet reactions from the room. Then Marcus handed Evan a tablet. A live company email had just reached every Coulson terminal. Martin Keller had ordered all driver complaints deleted before sunrise. Evan showed the screen to the company lawyers. Neither spoke. Martin looked toward the exit. Marcus blocked his path. Local police are already outside, he said. Evan turned back to Tasha. I should have told you who I was before you trusted me. Yes, she said. You should have. Then she looked at the drivers. But right now, they need the truth more than I need your apology. Police collected the tablet, route sheets, and deleted email records. Martin Keller was questioned inside the motel office. The company lawyers stopped defending him once they saw the message, ordering complaints erased. Evan sat near the conference room wall, while a paramedic cleaned the cut on his arm. Tasha stood several feet away with Kayla beside her. The room was warm now. The tension was not. Evan waited until the paramedic left. I need to explain, he said. Tasha shook her head. You need to listen first. He nodded. You saw where Kayla and I were sleeping, she said. You saw me split food with my child. I did. You could have told me you had somewhere safe to go. My accounts were frozen after the crash. You still had security, lawyers, and people calling you sir. Yes. Tasha kept her voice low. I opened my only shelter to you because I thought you had nothing. I know. No. You know now because I'm saying it out loud. Evan accepted the correction. Kayla looked at him. Were you testing us? No, Evan said. I came to investigate my company. Meeting you was not planned, but you liked how Mom treated you, Kayla said. Evan looked at Tasha. Yes. Tasha's expression tightened. So you kept quiet, because you wanted to see whether I would stay kind. I told myself I needed more time. That is not the same thing. No. She folded her arms against the cold still trapped in her coat. You wanted something honest while giving me half the truth. You're right. Evan did not mention money. He did not offer a hotel room, an apartment, or help with deposits. I had no right to let you believe I was powerless, he said. My reasons do not erase what I did. Tasha watched him carefully. You do not owe me forgiveness, he continued. You do not owe me another conversation. That part is true. Marcus approached with an update. Police had detained Martin for questioning. Federal transportation officials were also reviewing the route schedules. The board wants you in Minneapolis by morning, Marcus said. Evan looked at Tasha. She understood the question before he asked it. Go fix your company, she said. Do not fix my life to make yourself feel better. I won't. Do not send gifts. I won't. Do not use Kayla in some public apology. His face changed. Never. Tasha nodded once. Then leave us alone. Evan accepted the boundary. He walked toward the waiting vehicle without asking her to reconsider. For the first time, he understood that the right apology was not the one that brought someone back. It was the one that respected why they left. Evan returned to Coulson headquarters before sunrise. The board met him in a glass conference room overlooking downtown Minneapolis. Several directors blamed him for the public scandal. "You went undercover without approval," one said. "Now, drivers are speaking to reporters. They should speak," Evan replied. "We ignored them." Another director warned that suspended routes would cost millions. Evan opened the safety files. "Then we lose millions. We do not keep exhausted drivers on icy roads." The board voted to remove Martin Keller and freeze every disputed route. An outside transportation firm took control of the investigation. Evan also stepped away from decisions involving Tasha. His attorney looked confused. "Why?" "Because she asked me not to fix her life. She is living in a van with a child." "I know. You could place them in a hotel tonight." "That would still be using power after she said no." Instead, Evan approved a company-wide emergency program for stranded drivers and their families. The policy applied to everyone, not only Tasha. Coulson would provide safe rest stops, weather lodging, and paid delays during severe storms. Drivers would no longer lose routes for refusing unsafe conditions. The board fought every line. Evan kept the policy. Across town, Tasha returned to her grocery shift. The motel manager had allowed her and Kayla to stay inside until the storm passed. After that, they went back to the van. Tasha did not tell co-workers about Evan. She did not want pity or questions about billionaires. Kayla had more questions than anyone. "Do you think he meant the apology?" she asked. "I think he meant it." "Does that mean you forgive him?" "No." Kayla nodded. "Can both things be true?" "Yes." 3 days later, a local shelter coordinator visited the grocery store. She offered Tasha a temporary family room through a new city emergency fund. Tasha checked every page. "No Coulson name?" she asked. "None," the coordinator said. "The program existed before the storm. More rooms opened this week." Tasha accepted because the choice remained hers. That evening, she saw Evan on the news. He admitted the company had pressured drivers to work unsafe routes. He did not mention her name. He did not mention Kayla. He did not turn their kindness into part of his defense. Tasha watched until the interview ended. For the first time, she saw him do the right thing without trying to be seen by her. Over the next 6 weeks, Coulson Freight rebuilt its winter safety program. Drivers received paid weather delays. Dispatchers could no longer punish anyone for refusing an unsafe route. Every terminal added heated rest areas and overnight emergency rooms. Evan also created an independent driver hotline. Complaints no longer passed through regional managers first. The reports went directly to an outside safety board. Several executives opposed the change. "They will abuse it," one director said. "Then we investigate fairly," Evan replied. "We do not assume every driver is lying." The company's delivery numbers dropped that month. Evan kept the policy. Martin Keller was fired after investigators confirmed altered schedules and missing emergency funds. 2 dispatch managers resigned before their interviews. Evan released the findings publicly. His father called that evening. "You are embarrassing the family," he said. "No, I'm exposing what happened. You could have handled this quietly." That is how people stayed unsafe. Across town, Tasha moved into a temporary family room with Kayla. It was small, but warm. They had 2 beds, a private bathroom, and a door that locked. Tasha kept working nights at the grocery store. She also joined a housing support program and began saving for another apartment. She refused every interview request about the motel incident. "I'm not part of his public apology," she told the shelter coordinator. The woman nodded. "Then you won't be." One evening, Kayla found Evan's safety hearing online. He sat before drivers, union representatives, and transportation officials. Nobody treated him gently. A driver accused him of ignoring complaints for years. Evan did not defend his intentions. "You're right," he said. "I trusted reports instead of people." Tasha watched from the doorway. "He looks tired," Kayla said. That is not our problem. No. Kayla paused. But he is still doing it. Tasha looked at the screen again. Evan had no reason to believe she was watching. He did not mention her name. He did not tell the room about the sandwich or the van. He only answered questions and accepted blame. Later that week, a new Coulson rest station opened near the grocery store. Drivers could stop without losing pay. Tasha saw 3 truckers sleeping safely inside. For the first time, she wondered whether Evan's changes might last. Not because he wanted her forgiveness, because he had finally learned what responsibility required. In late February, state officials scheduled a public transportation hearing in Minneapolis. Drivers, dispatchers, and families filled the room. Several former employees had agreed to testify about unsafe schedules and missing emergency funds. Evan sat alone at the company table. His lawyers wanted him to answer only direct questions. They also advised him not to admit personal responsibility. Evan closed the prepared statement. The drivers were not given that protection. He said, "I won't ask for it now." The first witness was a trucker named Calvin Ross. He had driven through freezing rain after dispatch threatened to cut his weekly route. "My brakes locked outside Duluth," Calvin said. "I spent 6 hours in the cab without heat." A state official turned toward Evan. "Did your company know?" "The complaint reached regional management," Evan said. "It did not reach me. That was not the question." Evan nodded. "Then yes, my company knew." Across town, Tasha watched the hearing from the shelter's community room. Kayla sat beside her doing homework. A board attorney asked Evan whether he had approved aggressive delivery targets. "Yes." "Did those targets create pressure?" "Yes." "Are you accepting blame for Martin Keller's illegal decisions?" "No," Evan said. "I'm accepting responsibility for building a system where bad news disappeared before reaching me." The answer made Tasha look up. He was not taking false blame to appear noble. He was naming his part, without hiding anyone else's choices. Then, a director presented a proposal. Coulson Freight could avoid a temporary shutdown by removing Evan as CEO and restoring the old dispatch structure under new management. The room became restless. A state official asked Evan whether he would accept removal. "If that is the cost of keeping drivers safe." "Yes," he said. His father stood from the audience. "You would throw away the company over people who will never thank you." Evan looked at him. "They should never have needed to thank us for safe working conditions." The hearing paused after 3 hours. Tasha closed the live stream. Kayla looked at her. "Do you trust him now?" Tasha took a moment. "I trust what he did today." "That's not the same thing." "No," Tasha said. "But it's more than I trusted before." The next morning, Tasha received a letter from the Driver Safety Board. They wanted her to speak at the final hearing, not about Evan, about what she had seen in the grocery store parking lot. Tasha attended the final hearing alone. Kayla stayed at school, and the shelter coordinator watched her after class. Tasha carried no prepared speech. She only brought notes from the grocery store. Evan saw her enter, but he did not approach. The safety board called Tasha's name near noon. She described exhausted drivers sleeping in parked trucks. She explained how dispatchers called during storms and pressured them to keep moving. Then a board member asked about the night she met Evan. "He hid his identity," Tasha said. "I shared my van because I believed he was stranded and powerless." Evan accepted the words without looking away. "Did he use your situation for publicity?" the board member asked. "No." "Did he offer you money afterward?" "No. I told him not to." "And did he respect that?" "Yes." Evan's father stood near the back of the room. He looked angry. "This woman is homeless," he said. "Her judgment should not decide who runs a national company." Tasha turned toward him. "My housing situation does not make me dishonest," she said. "And wealth does not make anyone trustworthy." The room went quiet. She faced the board again. "I am not here to save Evan's job. I am here because drivers deserve safe roads." The board voted that afternoon. Evan remained CEO, but the Coulson family lost exclusive control over safety decisions. Drivers gained permanent seats on the oversight board. Evan accepted every condition. Outside the hearing room, Tasha found him standing near a window. "You told the truth," he said. "So did you. I still hurt you." "Yes," he nodded. "I know trust does not return because one vote went well." Tasha studied him. "Kayla wants to know whether you still hate peanut butter sandwiches." "I never hated them." "She says that answer sounds suspicious." Evan smiled. Tasha took a slow breath. "Would you like coffee Saturday morning?" His surprise was genuine. "No company talk?" he asked. "No hidden names. One honest coffee?" One honest coffee. It was not forgiveness. It was a choice he had finally allowed her to make. Saturday morning, Tasha met Evan at a small diner near Lake Street. Kayla came with her and ordered pancakes before anyone sat down. Evan smiled. "I see who is in charge." "Correct," Kayla said. They talked about school, the shelter, and the new driver rest stations. Evan did not ask where Tasha planned to live next. He waited until she brought it up. "I found an apartment," she said. "The housing program approved it yesterday." "That's good." No offer followed. No check appeared. Tasha noticed. After Kayla went to the counter for syrup, Tasha looked at Evan. "I need to say this clearly. I did not pull away because you were rich." "I know. I pulled away because you let me care about someone who was hiding most of his life." Evan nodded. "I wanted your trust without earning it honestly." "That's right. I can't change that night." "No, but I can stop repeating it." Tasha studied him for a moment. "This is one coffee," she said. "One honest coffee. And if the truth is uncomfortable, we say it anyway." Kayla returned with 3 packets of syrup. "Are you two being serious again?" "Unfortunately," Tasha said. Kayla sighed. "Adults make everything complicated." This time, all 3 of them laughed. Tasha and Evan did not promise forever. They agreed to meet again after she moved into the apartment. Evan had spent years believing power could solve every problem. Tasha taught him that trust begins when people are free to choose the truth. He had hidden behind a title, a company, and good intentions. Love only became possible after the hiding stopped. Do you think Evan earned another chance? Share your thoughts, and stay with us for more heartfelt stories.